All right, welcome. I'm Brandy Gibson. I'm the Mesa Director here at Diablo Valley College. Thank you for joining us. We also have some wonderful people from the engineering department at USF with us. So we have Lou Sasubre. Did I get that right?
It's fine. It's Sasub.
Sasub. Ah,
No worries.
and you have a student with you. Would you like to introduce your student?
Yes, Katie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi guys, my name is Katie Chlenpun. I am a senior engineering student here at USF.
Excellent. And we also have Erica Delgado.
Great. Yeah, I'll introduce myself. My name is Erica Delgado. I am the director of transfer admission at USF. So I work, in our admissions department, just helping students understand the admissions process and supporting them through their transfer journey. Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys for being here. I'll go ahead and turn it right over.
Awesome. Thank you. I have a couple of slides and things I would love to talk about, and then Erica can talk more about the specifics of transferring. So, we have at the University of San Francisco an BS in engineering program. Let me see if I can move our slides. And really, since we're at a Jesuit institution, the goal of our program is very much to do engineering within the Jesuit liberal arts tradition. And that really means teaching our students to be problem solvers within and for their community. We really, in our program, value diverse perspectives. We emphasize teamwork a lot. We're very much interdisciplinary and project based. And we try to engage as often as possible with the community that's around us. And these are just some fun pictures from field trips to a farm where we build sensors to deploy and a wastewater treatment plant. So what makes our program curriculum really unique are these project classes. So students in our program, whether they start as first years or transfer in, their very first semester, they're going to be taking a project-based class where they're learning how to use all of the equipment in our makerspace, our innovation hive, and learning how to design for a user. And so these are just some examples of projects that students have been involved in. Students take a project and design class every year that they're here, for a total of kind of 3 project and design classes and then a full year of senior capstone. And so in these classes, students are working with community partners. They are building and deploying sensor systems. They are learning the engineering process, and all of this leads up to their capstone design thing. And as I go through these slides, I'm going to check in with Katie about adding something from the student experience, because Katie has now been through all of these design classes and is currently in her capstone project. Katie, do you have thoughts about these project classes?
Like Lou was explaining, they're very hands-on. And I think that's something that is really fun to experience right off the bat. I mean, we have like that project one class is your first semester as a freshman or first year. And so you get to really work with the tools, you get to work with partners and groups, get that sense of like collaboration and teamwork, and also just get to make some fun stuff that you wouldn't get to make otherwise. In the bottom left photo, that's me. But I made this syringe pump. It was really cool. It was supposed to be mechanical, use it off grid and be able to push the syringe at like a constant rate. So that was really cool. Definitely something I wouldn't have made on my own, if it wasn't for these project classes.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll add about these project classes is they really do prepare students to have tangible things to talk about in interviews. So as students start applying for internships, whether it be during the semester or over the summer, they right away have experiences of working on teams, managing timelines, managing project budgets, managing supplies, all of these things that we really emphasize in these classes. So these classes really give kind of real world skills right away, and continue to build them throughout our program. So here's kind of just a map of some of our curriculum. And what I really want to say here is There are kind of a range of classes students take over 4 years with us, but for transfer students, I think a lot of these classes could be substituted for things that students are currently taking at community colleges. And we've definitely had students come in and finish in 2 or 3 years. So I put this up here so students can see, oh, maybe there are some classes I've already taken. That's great. That would be something where you could sit down with me and we would kind of look at the syllabi and be like, okay, this counts. And so we can substitute that in. So we're really happy to work with transfer students to make sure there's kind of a seamless transfer and that they can finish in the shortest amount of time possible. Okay, we have two concentrations. So we offer a BS in engineering, so it's general engineering. But we offer two concentrations. We offer a concentration in electrical engineering and one that is sustainable environments engineering, which is kind of a combination of civil and environmental engineering. And that's the one that Katie's doing. And for both these concentrations, what you do is take 4 classes that more specialize you. And the goal of this is to really say, hey, we know that engineering is very interdisciplinary. So our program has lots of interdisciplinary classes where, in a project and design class, you may be working with someone who wants to be a civil engineer and someone else who wants to be an electrical engineer. But for these 4 specific classes, they're more technical and they set people up to be able to go get a master's in a specific field. So in electrical engineering, this is really focused on electrical equipment, sensors, biomedical instrumentation, control systems. And for the sustainable environments engineering concentration, we really think about the built environment, both how water is used and recycled and thought about, and also how the built environment is constructed. What sustainable materials can we use? How do we build those structures? And so students in this track take structures, materials, environmental engineering, and a water systems class. And so this prepares them to apply to graduate school. And I'll say more about that later, but we have had students from both concentrations go on to specialize in a master's program. And then the other thing that makes our program really unique is that we have this innovation hive. So we have basically a maker space and we have soldering equipment and sewing machines, a laser printer, 3D printers, and then we also have another kind of wood shop nearby. And so again, students are taking classes their very first semester on how to learn this equipment. And once they take those classes, they get access to that equipment. Katie, is there anything that you especially like about the Innovation Hive?
One cool thing about it is I actually work there. So
Oh, yeah.
that's another cool thing about like being in this program and being able to be very involved is, getting the chance to work in the Innovation Hive, being able to help people, becoming really like an expert in those different tools. And you can also kind of use it for fun stuff too. Like making your own little 3D printed things, or maybe you gotta hem your pants, you can use the sewing machine. So it's lots of fun stuff, and it's really cool to learn.
Yeah, it's a fun area. And lots of people also just hang out there and do homework and it's
Mhm.
kind of our community spot. There are lots of other things that you can do as an engineering student. We have monthly family dinners where we all get together and order some yummy food from San Francisco and talk about how things are going, or invite different engineers to come talk to us about their jobs and what they do. We also have, and Katie's going to run off to this soon, we have these monthly design challenges. So for anyone that's a Formula One fan out there. One of the really cool things about Formula One teams, right, is there's a team competition called the Constructors Championship. And really the team is getting points during every race towards this. And really it emphasizes the importance of teamwork and the importance of teamwork to the extent where they have to basically change out 4 tires on a car in a second. And that's pretty amazing and requires so much planning and attention to detail. And so we've kind of created our own USF one challenges where once a month a faculty will kind of plan out a challenge. And teams, one of which is led by Katie, kind of come and it's just 2 hours. We have pizza And there's some fun design challenge. So tonight, actually, there's going to be one that is some sort of mini golf design challenge. I've done some that are like around Halloween that are pumpkin catapults. We've done some with balloon-powered cars. They're really fun and they're an opportunity for students to kind of build their design and engineering skills, and also for seniors to kind of take on a leadership role. Again, lots of things that are building important skills, building resumes, building LinkedIn pages. We also have a bunch of clubs. We have an Organization of Engineering Students, National Society of Black Engineers, Society of Women Engineers, Engineering and Environmental Science, and an Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. And actually, Katie is the president of our Organization of Engineering Students. Katie, do you want to talk more about that club?
Yeah, really what that club is, or at least what we try to do with our events, is to just create a space and a community for engineers to come together and hang out. I mean, that is definitely something that like the F1 challenges do, as well as the family dinners. But the OES events are a little more casual. We have these game nights once a month where we all hang out in the hive space that you guys saw on the previous slide. And we just play video games, play board games. It's really fun. And it's also an opportunity to get to know the people in the community that you might not see in your classes. So one great thing about being president and also involved with all this stuff is I get to hang out with the freshmen that got here like a month ago, and some of the, second years, third years, all of them. So that's really fun as well, just to create that community. And also put myself in like leadership roles as well and getting that experience too.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So much fun. And all these pictures bring back such good memories. And then I think it's always important to talk about like what our students are doing. So even though the College of Arts and Sciences at USF has been around for 100 years, we're celebrating our centennial. The engineering program is actually pretty new, which is actually awesome because we've really gotten to build a cool way of doing engineering. We have graduated 2 classes so far. So we just started in 2020. Katie's going to be our third graduating class, which we're so excited about. But for sure, the question is, what are our students doing after? So many of them have gone to work at public utilities as engineers, the city of Belmont, Los Angeles County wastewater treatment and water treatment, SFPUC. So a bunch of people are getting really awesome government jobs that they seem to be enjoying. Some have gone to private companies, civil and environmental consulting firms. Someone's at construction management firm, and someone's at Northrop Grumman as well. And then we've had several students go on to do graduate programs. So one student from our first graduating class went and got a master's in environmental engineering at UC Berkeley and is now working in the field. And then 2 students from this last year's class are getting masters in electrical engineering, and then one kind of pivoted and went on to mechanical and aerospace engineering. So there are lots of options coming out of our program, and I just want to highlight one in particular. Patricia, who's in the picture that you see here, she actually did this really cool NASA research fellowship this last summer, researching climate and flying on planes and doing all this fun stuff. And actually, another student who's doing an environmental engineering minor with us also participated in this internship program, although on the East Coast instead of the West Coast. So people are doing lots and lots of cool things. And before Katie rushes off to the design challenge, I'm going to ask her to mention the cool internship she's done because she's both worked for a big company and a small company. Katie, what can you say about those internships?
Yeah, so the first internship I did was with a small company. They're called Latitude 48 Engineers. They're in Seattle. It's a civil consulting firm. So it was really cool to be pretty one-on-one with the team people there, just because it's a small company, like I said. So I was able to, get that experience at all of their levels, and really get like attention, I guess. And then on the second one I did this past summer was with Cahill Contractors. That was a construction management project engineer internship. And that one was very cool. It was very busy. It was go, go, go. I was doing stuff all the time, but I was on site, which was so cool. I got to see everything going on in the site around me, on construction site, if that wasn't clear. And so I would get to kind of do things on the office side, like what issues are we having? How do we work that out with the architect or the engineers? And then I got to see that problem be fixed, like maybe a week later, and see all the subcontractors putting it up in real life. So that was really cool.
Awesome. Thank you. And we're gonna let Katie go off because she has to lead the F1, her team for the US F1 Design Challenge. Thank you so much, Katie. If people have questions for Katie, you can always email me and I can put you in touch, and we can get more questions. Yeah, actually, Brandy, if there's a question right now, I bet Katie could take one before she runs off.
I think the two questions were how much support did she get finding those internships and were they paid or not?
Oh yeah, good questions.
Yeah, both of them were paid. One was in Seattle, one was in San Francisco. And then as far as finding the internships, it's definitely a lengthy process. So definitely getting support from the engineering department as far as building my resume, building my LinkedIn page, making sure that everything is ready to go. And then I would say like the application process was definitely like my choice and my act, I guess. But yeah, there's definitely also other cool support systems in USF, like Career Services has a really great resume and cover letter support there. So there's options if you want it. And if you decide to take that step, then the support is there for you.
One last question from the room is about your innovation hive and your projects. They want to know if you've made anything really cool since you made wait, what's this? I can't read this. The syringe pump. They're writing things down.
Then, well, that was last spring, so very recently.
Very recent. Okay.
I'm trying to think of what else.
You could say what you're planning for your capstone.
Yeah. So I'm working with my friend Matt. He and I are making this greenhouse that's made for educators. So we're trying to make it like think fish tank sized. Um, and it'll have sensor systems in it that'll tell you the soil moisture level, it'll tell you the temperature. We're hoping to also get kind of like a self-watering system. It'll have lights. We'll be able to grow plants, and then educators will be able to use it for teaching about life science, or maybe even in an experimental way, and like being able to change out how much moisture you're going to put in and how that affects the plants. So that's the plan for capstone.
Yeah, and this is a capstone project with Katie, who's in the concentration for sustainable environments engineering, and then also Matt, who's actually in the concentration for electrical engineering. So it's a really cool interdisciplinary project.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie, for taking time out to talk to us today.
Yes,
Thank
of course.
you. Okay, I'll see you there in a minute.
Yeah.
Because I have to go watch the design challenge after, because these are super fun. Okay, and then I have one more slide and I can hand it over to Erica. Thank you, Katie. Okay, so just some questions that often come up that I was going to get ahead of. We are in the process right now of doing the ABET accreditation. You can't even apply for ABET accreditation until your first class graduates, and then it's the next year that it basically happens. It's a long and slow process, but we are currently in it and hope to have a final word this fall. We have about 100 students in our major, and that's about 25 students per class. And they range from like 50-50 to 40-60 in terms of self-identified gender. Our class sizes, early on, some of the classes are more like, 30-ish students. And then when you get into those like concentration classes, they're more around 15 students. So that's really nice. Everyone knows everyone's name. All the faculty have an open door policy. And so, on Tuesdays, we do Donut Tuesdays at noon. And so everyone comes to the office and gets donuts and has to like walk by my office and I can check in with everybody. So it's a very collaborative department. We only actually have 4 full-time faculty, 1 civil engineer, 1 environmental engineer, which is me, and then 2 electrical engineers. We have 1 person who's jointly appointed with history who co-teaches the sensors through history class that is like everyone's favorite class that's co-taught by a history professor and then an electrical engineer, and you get to like build an EKG and build a bunch of other like cool stuff. And then we often have, faculty coming in and teaching a class here and there. We have someone from industry come help with the capstone to really get like real world experience and perspective. We also often have some minors, and so there are lots of students from other departments that actually intermix, and we have architecture students come take classes with us, environmental science, physics, math, and computer science. So you are in classes with other majors. We do have an option to study abroad. We would have to figure out how that would work with a student transferring in, but we really value abroad experiences. Um, Several of our alumni have taken the FE exam. This is the kind of to get your EIT or engineering training level, and then it kind of sets you up to go on to get your PE or professional licensure. We've had a couple of students successfully take the FE, and so they are kind of set up to go on to get their PEs, which is awesome. Um, and then, we've often have questions about mechanical engineering, and there are some classes we have here that could set you up maybe to do mechanical engineering in the future, but that's always something we're happy to talk to people about. Engineering has become so interdisciplinary. There are actually lots of, mechanical engineering could mean lots of different things. And so we're happy to kind of talk about what students are interested in and what skills they want to get in college to get them where they want to go after. So those are all my slides. I'll hand it off to Erica, but I might pause for a minute to see if there are any other questions before I pass it off. Okay. Erica.
Great, we got one question.
Oh, okay.
Can you go in further detail about the prototyping fundamentals classes?
Yeah. So, so they're actually really fun, and we've made them even people like them so much we've increased them. So, in the fall, whoever wants to take it takes what's called kind of an introductory prototyping class. And in that class, you learn to use basically the equipment in the hive, the 3D printers, the laser cutter, the soldering, and the downstairs wood shop. And I think right now the projects change every year, but right now students are building their own speakers to have like a working speaker by the end of the semester. That's taught by the director of the Innovation Hive, who's this like awesome artist designer who like can build anything and is like just really fun. And so that class actually like doesn't have homework. It's just 3 hours a week. You get to go make stuff. It's really awesome. And then now we actually have another class kind of following up in the spring that is also one unit that basically is kind of practicing that prototyping more to really get people comfortable. And again, every year, the person who teaches it kind of does a new project. So I'm not sure what's in it this year. One year they built these really cool stools, but I'm not sure what he has in store. So those are kind of happening at the same time that you're taking the project and design classes. So the project and design class in the fall is really focused on working with a community partner. And this year they're working with the sustainability office on campus. And so, the other week they were like tracking their waste and kind of learning about what that is. And then they are working with that office. So having kind of like a user or partner you have to work with, which you will in every job, is kind of incorporated into that class. And then in the spring, the project class is more focused on like rapid prototyping. So we have like four different challenges where you have a different user, and at one point you're making one of those like those cards that you get that you open and they like sing or have like a birthday song or lights. They do those. We do those in that class. We make batteries out of sustainable materials as if you were on the island of Tonga. There's a whole context to that. Um, we were doing one where we were filtering water, but this last year we switched to thinking about filtering air and air pollution. And then the final project we do is the one that I think Katie and I mentioned, where you build sensors for a farm that's a little bit north of here, and you actually deploy them and get data. It's really, really fun. So those are kind of the project design classes that are happening at the same time as these like prototyping classes. So you're just getting a lot of skills. And then the next year, right, you would do another project class. And then your capstone as well. So that's kind of those, and all of those classes are taught in our Innovation Hive. That might be a long answer to your question, but did I answer it?
You did, and there's a follow-up. The
Okay.
sensors that you're deploying in the farm,
Yeah.
are they air or water or soil?
Yeah, those are
What are they
excellent
testing?
questions. They're actually all of them. So, we kind of set up the scenario and we talk to the people on the farm as our user, and we learn about like how the water works on the farm and how they water plants and what soil moisture they care about, and what sunlight they care about, right? Like the cool thing about being in the real world and especially being on a farm is you have to care about the air and the sunlight and the humidity. And then you also have to care about the water, and then you have to care about the soil moisture. So we give students the option, we give them soil moisture sensors. Um, Students have done water flow. It's pretty amazing. They have to build something that can actually be submerged in water, but has electronics in it to try and measure a flow rate because flow rate is a big deal on this particular farm. They can't pump water out because of salmon with the flow rate. It's a really cool system. And then we have some students do sunlight, we have some students do air temp and humidity, and then try and relate these things and try and say, well, what usable data could we give to the farm for the farm to kind of better manage their water or better manage their soil or things like that. Or where should they grow crops and things like that. So it's really fun, and it's all the sensors we use Arduino with them if that's something you guys have done. If it's not, it's totally fine. Everyone learns it.
All right, thank you. I think that ends our questions.
Okay, awesome. Erica, it's all you. Here, and I'm going to stop sharing so you can.
Okay, wonderful. Awesome. Thanks, Lou. Give me a sec here while I get myself situated. Great. Can everyone, or can you see my screen okay? Lou, thumbs up if you can, just so I know. Beautiful. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about just, the transfer process in general for USF, the admissions process, so that, all the wonderful things that Lou just shared about the engineering program, which I was learning so many interesting things about all the projects that they work on. So if you're curious about, what are the next steps? How do you actually apply to USF? What are we looking for? What's the process? Also taking a step back, if you're not familiar with USF, just giving you a little bit of sense of kind of who we are. So just kind of has some high level notes here about USF. So we are a mid-sized school. So we've got just a little over 5,000 undergraduate students. We're kind of on the smaller mid-size, which we think is kind of the ideal size in terms of you're really going to get to know your peers in your classrooms, but big enough to where you're always meeting new folks. And then as kind of Lou touched on, our average class size is 22. So we're definitely, the type of institution where you really get to know your professors. You're able to work closely with them, ask questions, just kind of build those relationships with your peers, your academic advisors, things like that. And then you'll also see our student to faculty ratio is 11-1. So again, just really harping on that smaller class size. You'll see here where our students come from. So big bulk of them come from California. However, a lot of them also come from all over the world too. So one of our pillars of kind of a Jesuit education is diversity. And you can really see that in our student population. We're actually the #1 most diverse university in the United States. And that's something that we're really proud of. And I think something you can kind of tell by looking there at that map and kind of what our overall profile is. I like to put this here because oftentimes, even though students maybe grew up in the Bay Area, they're like, where is USF? Like, I've been there, I've never seen you. And so this just kind of to orient you where we are in the city. And we literally are in the heart of the city. You can see this is our campus here. We're just about a 20-minute Muni ride from the financial district, 20 minutes from the ocean. We're in a really cool district called the Richmond District, which is super vibrant, lots of great food, lots of nightlife. Awesome place to be a college student. So, San Francisco in general is made up of, I think it's like 27 neighborhoods, and you can see them all kind of outlined here on this really awesome map. And we are literally in the heart of it. So this is where we are. So I know you learned a little bit about engineering. I won't go too much into our academics, but we do have over 43 different majors and 70 different minors. So if you are a student in Mesa who's maybe thinking about some other majors or things like that outside of engineering, we do have some other kind of STEM focused majors as well. One we just started was our biotech and bioentrepreneurship as well. And then of course minors, which students are also able to add onto their academic program. Something we like to stress is just the support that you get at USF. So, you will get a lot of faculty support from your advisors, but also from something that we call CASA, which is our Center for Academic Success and Achievement. And so this actually pairs you with someone who's kind of helping to support you in your program as well. So you've got your faculty advisor kind of helping you pick your classes, making sure you graduate on time. And then you've got your success coach who's kind of supporting you, assisting you with all the other things that may come up and that are part of your overall college experience. We also have career coaches. I know the student that was speaking earlier talked a little bit about our awesome career center. So those are great resources that we offer for students as well. And then tutoring. So, if you ever feeling like you need a little extra support in a class, we offer those support services for students as well. Just want to touch a little bit on student life. So again, we are in the heart of San Francisco. We are a Division I sports team. So we have 27 different club and intramural sports and 14 Division I sports. So that includes like men's basketball, women's basketball, soccer, baseball. And we get to go to a lot of the different activities that happen around San Francisco. So a lot of times, some of our students will go to our Don's Double Header at the Chase Center, which is where the Warriors play. That's really popular. We have our USF night at Oracle Park, which are some of the pictures that you see here. And then students, of course, get free tickets to go to our home game as well. Outside of that, we also have lots of clubs that students can take advantage of. As transfer students, we do have a transfer-specific club called our Transfer Student Alliance. And that just kind of helps students build community with other transfer students. Sometimes students come in and there's questions about, how am I going to find my people? Everyone's been studying together for a year, 2 years. How am I going to find my place? And this Transfer Student Alliance just kind of gives transfer students a space to meet each other and be in community with other transfer students. They also do other things like special events. Sometimes they'll do workshops, like career preparation workshops, social outings together. So again, just kind of giving other transfer students just a place to come together and build community. And then we've got other sports or other clubs that students can take advantage of outside of our Transfer Student Alliance. So we have like culturally focused clubs. I know there was a mention of some of those engineering specific ones as well. Community service, professional, spiritual, whatever type of kind of club you're interested in or the types of different communities you want to build, we have different options for that as well. Want to talk a little bit about housing. So we do guarantee housing for transfer students for their first year. So you will have a guaranteed spot on campus if you would like to live on campus. However, we do not require it. So if you feel like you want to commute, maybe you think your community college is close enough to just go ahead and drive, we do have that option as well. But we do guarantee housing for any transfer student for that first year if they do want to live on campus. And then we've got lots of different just different types of safety kind of precautions in place for students as well, so that they feel nice and safe on our campus. I will say, USF, as I mentioned, is located in the Richmond district, which is a really unique, I think, college experience because you get to be in the city of San Francisco, but because the Richmond district is sort of kind of a smaller district, you get to kind of feel you get kind of the best of both worlds. You kind of feel like you're in a college town within a big city. And that's something that I really like about where USF is located. We do have specialized housing as well. So for any of our students who are 21 plus, we do have Loyola Village. And then we've got Lone Mountain East and Lone Mountain North, which is more of that apartment style living. So rather than, kind of those typical dorm halls, you would actually have your own bathroom, your own living room, and your own kitchen as well. So we do have those options for our students who maybe still want to live on campus, but maybe in a little bit more of like an independent style living. So also wanted to talk about scholarships that we offer specific for transfer students. And you can see here, we do have quite a few options. So our first one is going to be our merit-based scholarships. Basically, as long as you have a 2.9, you'll automatically get this amount that's listed here. And then they go all the way up to 20,000. And I always get the question from students, do I have to apply for these? You don't need to apply. We will automatically calculate your GPA when you apply. And if you've got one of these qualifying GPAs, you'll be awarded a merit scholarship at the time of admission. So we offer those to our students. And then we also have a $2,000 community college partnership scholarship. So any of our students who attend any local Bay Area community college are automatically granted $2,000. You don't have to do anything in order to get that scholarship either. It's just to kind of build goodwill and partnership with all the community colleges that we work with. So you'll automatically get that regardless of your GPA. For any students who are familiar with Phi Theta Kappa, that is an honor society at community colleges, if you are a member of that, you also get a $2,000 scholarship for that as well. Um, and then we have a $5,000 scholarship for students who have graduated from Catholic high school. So even as a transfer student, if you attended and graduated from a Catholic high school, you will be also awarded a $5,000 scholarship as well. And for any students who are majoring in the humanities, or if you add a humanities minor, there is also an option for what we call the Mellon Scholars Program, which is $10,000. So lots of opportunities for scholarships for transfer students, just to kind of help make college a little bit more affordable. You can scan that QR code there and get a little bit more details about all of these scholarships that we offer. And then, of course, this is going to be outside of anything you may qualify for through FAFSA. So if you do your FAFSA or if you do the California Dream Act application and you qualify for any need-based aid, all of this aid is actually stackable on top of any need-based aid that you get as well. So a little bit about credit evaluation. So in general, all regionally accredited colleges or university credits will transfer. So you'll at least get the credits as long as the classes are not remedial or like more kind of technical. So like if you did like a medical assisting program or something like that, those classes won't transfer. Otherwise, you'll at least get the credits for the courses that you've taken. And then, of course, outside of credits, then we review your credits to see how are they going to apply to our general education and then to your major as well. If you attend a school that's on a semester system, those will come over one-to-one. If you're at a school that's on a quarter system, then we just do a little bit of a conversion to convert your quarter system credits into semester units. Any classes that you may be taking for UC or CSU, if they are transferable to UC or CSU, they will also transfer to USF with very few exceptions. And then I've just kind of put a little sort of formula here for how you get to those credits that you need to graduate. So all of our majors are 120. Basically, any credits you get from a 2-year institution, and then at least 44 have to be taken at USF, and that gets you to that 120. So this is a glance at our core curriculum. All students have to take these core classes regardless of their major in order to graduate. So for a lot of community college students, outside of maybe the classes you may be taking in preparation for engineering or any other major you're looking at, these are also recommended classes that you can take at your community college in order to, again, just start to fulfill graduation requirements. A lot of these also sort of intersect with UC-CSU as well. So, for example, they may have a public speaking requirement, so do we. And they can also double dip with your major. So if your major requires that you take a lab science class, if you take that lab science, it will also fulfill this core curriculum requirement. So that's kind of helpful to just kind of you be as efficient as possible to take the classes that you need in order to graduate as quickly as possible. Couple of notes on how to apply. So you can apply via 2 applications, the common application, which if you're looking at other private schools or out-of-state schools, you can apply via the common app. If maybe USF is one of the few institutions that you're looking at in terms of private schools, then you can apply via our USF Direct application, which is on our website. And then the only other thing that we need is just official or even unofficial transcripts. Those are the only 2 documents that we require in order to review you for admission. We are letter of recommendation optional, so you can submit a letter of recommendation. If maybe your GPA you feel is not as strong as you'd like it to be, oftentimes that letter of rec can sort of help sway the admissions committee. So we do a holistic review, so we're not just looking at GPA. We want to know who you are as a student outside of your academics. So we're also reading your personal statement. If you're submitting those those letters of recommendation, we're reading those as well. So we're looking at everything, and we know that you're more than just your GPA, and so we want to kind of take all of those things into consideration when we're reviewing your application. We do admit students for both the fall and the spring. So our spring deadline would be November 1st, and then our fall deadline is March 1st. So right now, both applications are open. You can apply for either the spring term or the fall semester currently, and then those deadlines are listed there for you. Now, the only thing we require in order to be admitted at minimum is a 24 semester or 36 quarter units and a 2.5 GPA or higher. For engineering, we do want it to be a little bit higher. So 3.0 is kind of our baseline. But again, we do a holistic review. We look at your overall academics. We look at the classes and how you've done maybe in those more like science and math classes. So while 3.0 is kind of a baseline and kind of a good place to, I would say, like our average admitted GPA. If we have any international students, the only other thing you need to submit is proof of English language proficiency and a certification of finances. Is that my last slide? Oh, that is my last slide. The other thing I will say is we work very closely as a transfer admissions team with any students who are looking to transfer to USF. So we are very open to doing transcript evaluations to kind of see how your credits will transfer into our core curriculum requirements. And so we offer appointments every day of the week to help meet with transfer students in more of a one-on-one setting. We know that usually your circumstances may be unique in terms of what classes you took, life experience, things like that. So we make ourselves available for daily one-on-one virtual appointments. We also offer for some majors on-the-spot admission appointments as well. And then we will often, usually like 3 or 4 times a semester, go directly to community colleges to meet with students. So if you wanted to sit down one-on-one with a counselor, either over Zoom or even in person, if you're on our mailing list, you'll also get an email to let you know when we'll be at your community college so we can kind of meet you where you're at and just kind of, like I said, help support you through the process. That is my last slide on admission. So I will go ahead and stop sharing. And if there are any questions for me or maybe ones that came up for Lou, happy to answer those now as well.
Can you talk about the guaranteed transfer admissions process, or is that only available to certain schools?
Yes, we call it GTAP, which is our guaranteed transfer admission. Basically, all you have to have for that is 24 transferable units and a 3.0 GPA. If you meet those requirements, then you are automatically guaranteed admission to USF for select majors. So nursing, for example, would be a major that is not available for GTAP students. And then engineering, I would say is, but we just have to kind of look at your prerequisites to make sure you've met the requirements for those classes in terms of grades, and you've taken some of those prereqs as well.
And then it looks like we can make appointments with you directly on Wednesdays for the next couple of months. Is that correct?
Yes, for me, it's Wednesdays. That's when I've made myself available. Our other counselor, Francis, has also made himself available, I think, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then Chinyi Mondays and Fridays. So we try and make sure that one of us is available every single day. So we've got those links there. And then we also have transfer admission appointments that we do, our entire team does as well. So we're usually very easy to schedule an appointment with.
All right. Well, thank you. This sounds like a fabulous program. We appreciate you all stopping in to visit with us and tell us more about USF. I think it's an interesting, I love the small feel. I love the project-based learning. They were in here assembling a new 3D printer while they were listening to you. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording real fast.